about it.
Oh, hello, everyone.
Oh, hi.
Rachel, why are we all at your house again?
I had like a bit of time. No one was here on a Tuesday, and suddenly attacked. I'm being attacked.
I have to say, it feels really nice to be back here with everyone. I'm sitting in the chair and I'm like, oh shit, I missed this.
Yeah.
I miss being with, oh my gosh, more subs. Stop it. Oh
my
well,
gosh.
Don't stop it. Don't stop it. That feels, yeah.
Yeah. Do it more.
This hype train, I love it so much. Y'all are the best. Seriously.
Oh. All right, team.
Shoot.
How's it going, everybody?
Wow.
Where we want to start?
Hello, chat. Hello, Sean. Hello. So who else is here?
Chat, say hello.
Yeah.
Hi's in chat. So I think the best way to sort of structure this, since we do only have an hour, because we've got the final episode of Gup's Mitra adventure tonight at 8. Is we'll start with some short sort of reflections if we have any chat questions about the final episode. It was now several weeks ago, so like please bear with us if our brains are a little rusty about what happened.
I don't even know who you people are.
I don't know how you keep getting into my hat.
What are you doing here, Ben?
Nothing, I don't think. I just do weird voices from time to time.
And then we'll get into sort of like what season 2 is going to look like and all that kind of fun stuff. So I guess first things first, does anyone have anything in particular from the finale, either in chat or cast members, that you really wanted to dig into, talk about? I know that like, for me, the Rev stuff I think is very juicy and very interesting and something that I would like to chat about a little bit, because that really leaves us on a very interesting cliffhanger. But is there anything prior to the very final piece of the episode that we want to talk about a little bit?
Just reflecting and remembering.
I remember having to differentiate between like 6 children's voices, all with approximately the same accent, and try to make them sound not the same, which is just a great time. What a joy.
And you wrote that.
I did.
You did.
I did. You know.
You brought that to life, and then you brought it to life with your voice.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, I did this to myself, and I recognize this is entirely my fault, but also you guys could have not interacted with the children at all, and it would have been great.
You're going to give us 6 children and expect us not to talk to them?
Yes, absolutely.
With really sweet,
6
adorable
children
accents?
And one
the accents
like,
were great.
Severe mommy. You don't have mommy problems.
Mommy.
You are a mommy problem.
Mommy,
like,
sorry. Mommy, sorry. Mommy. I will say the thing that I remember about that episode was combat finally felt like it was like kind of starting to click. Like I feel like there were definitely some choices that were made that weren't necessarily the most like like me walking into the room, not like the smartest thing to do, but like it was really cool to see how we mechanically were able to work with character choices and like getting a little bit more comfortable with the Pathfinder system. I don't know if other people felt that way as well.
We use Pathfinder?
Oh my god. Brah.
Who?
Who? Yeah, that was. I mean, I enjoyed watching you guys sort of develop as mechanical players over, like a couple sessions or 3 or 4 sessions of combat.
I think also like figuring out how to use status effects to like bring down. Is it called AC? I think it's still called AC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like using those things to be able to like make the hits count for more. I think I would say the first couple of fights we definitely didn't use anything to like make people flat-footed or prone or whatever, just because we're like, okay, you do damage. And by this fight I was like, all right, I need to make sure that I'm actually using these other kind of components of my toolkit to help out the rest of the party, which I think is like a very core thing to the Pathfinder system that I'm getting used to, as I'm sure the rest of you are as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, it's really difficult because I
No,
usually
I
play martial
100%
characters.
agree. I really like playing a character who has to be very mechanical like that, and being and now that that was like our fourth battle, whatever it was. I felt that I was able to easier pull off the combos and get the if I rolled high enough, the object that I wanted to accomplish.
Oh, wait, there was that wild roll. Was that last session or the session before, Omar, where there was like no shot? Like there was like such a low percentage chance that Ben was gonna roll like below a 4 or whatever it was.
I don't know if it was I think it was the last session, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was like I was like, oh, there's an ability here that says that you possibly can't hit me, but it's like you have to get a 1 through 5. And you roll and it got a 5, and I was like, oh, I'm not dead, thank goodness. I was going to die.
Yeah.
It was like 2 out of 3 attacks missed you because of that. Because I rolled a 1 and a 5, and I was like, cool, this is great. I really love this game and these dice. This is awesome. I'm having fun.
Let me tell you, like I was like, I am an HP / like meat shield. My character doesn't do any damage as meat shield. So then to take a massive amount of hit, I was like, well, there goes my worth. So I'm glad.
But you stayed up. Well, until you were a bunny. You were a bunny for a little bit. But...
yeah, I was bunny for like a round.
But you mostly stayed up. Zeki, you had something to say, I think.
I was just going to add that, like, I usually play martial-based characters, so for me, combat has always been, like, run up and beat the thing with, like, a sword or an axe or a bow and arrow, and now I am, like, not that type of character at all, so I'm, like, constantly trying to think of new ways to really, like, interact with the environment and figure out the opponent rather than just, like, force my way through kind of a thing. So that's been like a very interesting change, and I feel like that last session I really was starting to like pick that up, and it's gonna be really fun as we level up more and get like more abilities and stuff like that to like really explore that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, I mean, obviously all of us are still very new to Pathfinder as a system. This campaign is our first campaign in like anything Pathfinder related. So as we are leveling up, like we are playing that level for the first time, and I think it's really fun and like very interesting to kind of experience that as a group and figure out how these mechanics work together with each other. I don't know if other people feel the same way, but for me at least, because we have well, I don't want to say balanced party because we definitely don't have a healer, but like balanced in the sense that there's range, there's melee, there's magic users, there are people that are very much like martial based. We have a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Array, that's the word I'm looking for, of different types of players and different types of characters, which I think is really fun. Anything else? Alex, you've been very quiet. Not sound like a teacher. Alex, you've been very quiet. Is there something you'd like to say to the class?
I just like to wait until I have something really sage and like wise to say, and then everyone like claps. You know. Zach, I have the opposite thing of you, where I usually play like casters, and now my MO is like sick Neener and then just like shoot it till it dies, and that has been like a pivot. And then I feel like I'm finding more opportunities to like role play a little bit in combat and like find interesting ways to like use the limited set of things that I can do to like make the combat more effective. So I've been enjoying getting creative with that.
That's really cool, and I find that kind of interesting because I would love to eventually play a ranger in Pathfinder to see if they balanced it at all, because I just have the D&D experience of a ranger, which has always been just like super underpowered unless you really know how to shoot rank. I mean, I have a really fun Horizon Walker that I love playing, but like you really have to like learn how to shoot the angles to give yourself the advantages with a ranger. Right. And I feel like a lot of other classes, like it's kind of baked in to like the foundation of the class, whereas ranger, you like make your own path, and if you can do that, you'll find a lot of success. So I find it like really cool that you're doing it in Pathfinder, because then I get to kind of see like kind of like the limits of what a ranger can do without having to experience the pitfalls
Yeah.
potentially.
to experience the drawbacks that I'm
Yeah.
learning along the way.
Actually, I'd like to just sort of put it to the group generally at this point, having now played a few sessions in Pathfinder. How do you guys feel about the system? Like, how are you acclimating to it? What are your thoughts, as compared to 5e, which we started out in? How are you guys feeling generally?
Should we like go around the box?
Sure. Yeah.
Alex, you're up at the top.
Me, the leader. I feel like I like the 3 action system. That is, I feel like it really intuitive for me and like lets me be a little bit more creative. I hate that like 3/4 of my hits, my like shots do not hit. It's just like so sad every round when I'm just like, oh, that's a miss, and that's a miss, and that's a miss. But hopefully that will, start to change as we get a little bit higher and hone our skills.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Ryan's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say something that is probably mildly controversial and might give me some hate from chat. I don't really like Pathfinder. I think is at times crunch for the sake of crunch. I think one of the clearest examples is that, especially for me in that last session, when Rev went down the first time in D&D, regardless, that is a stressful situation, right? Because you don't know what's next. You're trying to figure out what comes next, how you might be able to get back up. In our case, as the way that we play, being down, for those of you who have not been around for one of us being down, if you fail, you're also providing fail or success, you're providing a memory backstory piece of the character. So in addition to scrambling, oh my god, I might die, I'm also trying to make sure I have enough of those key memory pieces to be able to provide them, right?
Yeah.
So it's a high stress, high stakes moment. And for D&D 5e, it's simple. 3 successes, 3 fails, boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pull up and keep open the how death works in 2e, and I still don't think I understood it, and possibly didn't play it right while I was dying, right? Like, it's unnecessarily crunchy for a situation that could be handled more simply. That said, I do enjoy the fact that I did like the fact that if you were brought back up, you did have that wounded status.
Mm-hmm.
That's realistic. At the same time, we're in a world of magic. If I've been magically healed, it stands to reason that I've been magically healed and I'm fine, right? So it's just kind of a balance. I think there's, so that's just one moment, one instance, right, of where, in my view, and how I felt like it was occasionally crunchier than it needed to be. Yeah.
Cool.
It's Rachel.
You're
muted, sweetie.
What I was attempting to say was, I have forgotten most of it, but I'm excited to read it. I think I still just really like how much you can futz with the character on like an actual granular level, because you kind of get this backstory in like broad strokes in 5e, and you kind of have to write the rest of it and sort of make the rules work around that. Whereas like in this character creator, I feel like I'm building the character because of what I can pick in the mechanics, and it feels like I have a bit more like focused direction as somebody making a playable entity for people to empathize with. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Pathfinder makes for a good theater director. Even if I can't remember the mechanics to save my soul.
Yeah.
I've spike bumped myself many times since we last sat together, so it's all disappearing, all of my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I kind of agree with everything that has been said to an extent. Like, I really like the 3-action economy. I think that it's really nice to not feel like your turn is necessarily hinging on a singular attack roll. Because it feels like sometimes, like you roll, you miss, and then that's your turn for that round of combat. But wait, what happened to Ryan? What happened to Ryan?
I don't know.
She
Oh,
said
there
that
might be a connection issue.
She said she didn't like second edition, so I nixed her from the call.
Oh no.
So let that be a warning to you all.
We cannot besmirch.
No besmirching.
But
We love to besmirch.
and like to Ryan's point, I do think that there are definitely some things where it feels like unnecessary. Okay, we're just not adding her back in. Cool.
Ryan just disappeared.
There are some things that are very like unnecessarily complicated, and I actually would like to work as a group to figure out maybe like ways to smooth some of those things out. And I know this might seem like a little sacrilegious, like something like death saves. What if we just use the 5e mechanic as opposed to making it like so complicated? Like, what would that break? Kind of figuring out like where are there places that we can simplify and where are there places like the crunch is necessary. And also, kind of like what Rachel said, I really like that building the character feels like a skill tree almost, like in like a video game, where it feels super, super customizable. And it's like, I'm sure that someone has built a very similar character to whatever each of us is building, but there is a chance that you are creating something unique just because of how many options there are. Which, like, yes, that is the case in 5e in some contexts. Like, if you get up to level 20, like, it gets more likely. But it does feel like we have created these very unique characters that have like their backstories can tie into these feats and can tie into like the spells in a way that I don't necessarily know that 5e facilitates in that same way. So it's not, I'm enjoying it. I'm not like, holy shit, this is the best system I've ever played in my entire life, but I also don't feel that way about D&D. I think that there's some really cool things inside of the Pathfinder system that I'm really enjoying, and I'm kind of excited to play with it more and like homebrew more and house rules more and like like learn the rules before you can break the rules, but like figuring out what our house rules are going to be.
I'm into it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, break the game. Do it for the bit.
Make Twitch chat mad.
I like to live, regardless of the system I'm playing in, I also like to just live in a very, like, Pirates of the Caribbean world where, what is it they say in the first movie? The rules are more like guidelines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's one of the best things that Jeffrey Rush has ever said in his entire life.
Yes.
Or guidelines and actual rules. Yeah, he's great.
Exactly.
Spectacular.
I think that's the best way to play in this made-up world that we all live in any system.
Right.
So more like guidelines.
Yeah.
Omar.
Yeah, Omar.
Well, first of all, once again, apologies if I cut anyone off before. I had technical issues. Issues have been fixed, so thank you.
Wow, Omar's feeling spicy tonight. All
No,
right.
Coming in hot.
Omar doesn't give a fuck.
Omar's like, shut the
Everyone
fuck
had
up,
weird
Zach. Yeah, I got something to
expressions
say.
I was like, everyone had very weird expressions on. I wonder why. And I was like, oh my god, I hit the mute everyone else button and thought there were just awkward silence. How vain of me. So very sorry.
Amazing.
But there are two things that about Pathfinder that I'm excited for. There's one thing that we didn't do that I hope that we do. One thing that I noticed that we did get to do, obviously, in the build. So first, what we did get to do was obviously build our characters in and the way that Pathfinder has it set up, it takes away a lot of things that other TTRPGs like D&D has, where most characters have an opportunity attack. Most characters will have, or all will have, a reaction. But now it's like, no, only special people will have this. So you're even more reliant on the abilities of your allies to make sure you could do everything. Because I found myself focusing on one area and saying, well, I hope someone else could do damage, versus in like other TTRPGs, like with like D&D, you want to all, for the most part, do good amount of damage, do good amount of this, and have high enough AC. Where this, now you could be like this glass cannon, or you could be this super tank, but that's like a wet noodle. So I really did enjoy that. And the second one I'm really excited for is the exploration stuff, because I know that Pathfinder has a whole new set of skill checks and rules for exploration, and I'm like dying to get into that portion of the system.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well.
Oh, it's on me now.
It is.
I kind of agree with Omar with that second point about the exploration, especially building a class that doesn't really exist in D&D. I like did that very intentionally. I don't know whether it's just like a little bit of like system fatigue or something like that, but like I was very excited to like play something that I had never heard of before, or haven't seen YouTube videos on how to min-max like 1,000 times over. So I think with like the investigator, it's going to be a ton of fun for me in Pathfinder, because it's just something I've never even thought about building before. Like I was saying before, like being mostly a martial type player, this is very far from that. And I also get to drive Ben insane. So with these exploration rules and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot of fun to like really just kind of use exploration as like my own combat with the DM, to just kind of expand
Our interpersonal combat, you mean?
yes,
Yeah, above
Just-
the table.
above the table, to just like expand, you know, like the lore potentially of the world, and like just to dig deeper, and I think it'll, you know, allow us to just breathe more life into the setting. And I'm excited to like have a hand in that, as well as everybody else. You know, we're all like RPing and stuff like that, but I feel like the investigator class specifically has a way of, you know, going through every nook and cranny.
It also makes my heart grow 8 sizes every time you're like, I sense something I can investigate.
That's odd.
That's odd. That's what it is.
Yeah,
that's
that's
the line.
odd.
That's odd.
Huh. That's odd.
Yeah. It's just like, because my heart glows, and I just feel Ben.
Watching Ben's face as you say it.
So you just like you can see my cortisol levels spike every time.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on like a heart monitor one episode, watch it happen in real time.
Honestly,
Just
we
put
should
it
do that.
live
It'd
in
be
the
very
corner
funny.
and watch
Yep.
it just like
That'd be
spike.
so funny.
He's like
Like a
that's
little
odd. It's like,
overlay, like top right corner.
yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh boy. Oh, cool. That's
Oh, I don't just enjoy Spring with Ben's story. I'm trying to enhance the story.
Oh, is that how we're? Oh,
Yeah.
That's a great spin you're putting
I mean,
on
Oh my god.
yeah. That's odd. Keen mind. There's places to fuck with your DM in
that.
any
That is true.
system.
Oh god,
Oh,
keen
yeah.
mind. Keen mind is
Oh,
like such
God.
a mean thing to.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that I am approximate. Actually, this one actually the worst.
Approximate is very funny to me.
Approximate with patchwork is like extra good though too. 'cause,
GM, how many candlesticks are in here? I need to know.
Honestly, you know what I
Deeply
have to say
important.
though is it's nice because then it just gives me an excuse to roll a couple die and be like 13.
But so many candlesticks.
A
What are
lot.
they
Well, the
doing
pan-
with the
the-
candlesticks?
I mean, the pantry has an unopened pack of 6, and then a couple, and then there's like a couple in candle holders.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
There you
So quick with it.
We are
Story
hitting-
enhanced.
We're hitting 7:30.
Cool.
Right in the face.
Let's switch gears and Ben,
Yes.
why don't you talk a little bit about what the upcoming changes are and why? Because it's very much sort of been the catalyst for these changes has been
Yeah.
you and your experiences.
Yeah. So Should I start with the changes or should I start with the
Well,
why?
explain with the why
and then like really
say,
drag it out so people
Yeah,
are like,
yeah,
what does
yeah,
this mean?
yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, create some dramatic tension.
yeah.
Sure. So,
That's odd.
That's odd.
fuck you. Um, so DMing live is
Not
DMing
live,
and
virtually.
give me a second.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm
young
gonna
lady.
mute myself.
Okay. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Awesome. Man, blissful. Just a moment of silence.
She's still in your house, bro.
Oh God, it's terrible. I can hear her think. Oh, here she comes. So,
Hi. Folks, I present to you marital bliss.
Bliss.
so DMing live is wonderful, right? Being able to interact with chat and like enjoy that has been a phenomenal experience. What I have realized is that DMing live and virtually is incredibly taxing. And it has gotten to the point over the last couple of months that I've realized that it has been sort of like slowly kind of killing my desire to DM, which is just like not the goal, right? Like, we want to make sure that everyone's having a fun time at the table, myself included. And it's something that I was trying to figure out if there were ways that I could like change up my prep or sort of shift my mindset around what was happening that would allow me to enjoy the process more. I was not able to find a like happy medium that allowed me to continue to DM the story in the way that we've been doing it thus far, while also not eventually hitting the point where I just didn't want to anymore. Which I was like, full disclosure, getting very close to by the end of season 1. It is I don't even know how to express it. Like there's doing your characters when you're sitting at a table where you're sort of like everyone's in the moment and you get a lot of like nonverbal feedback that I don't think I realized was as important to my enjoyment of DMing as it is. And it's not to say that I don't get plenty of great feedback from you guys as players, right? Like that has not been the issue, but there's just like a different kind of feedback that happens when you're sitting at a table together. And I guess it's as good a segue as any to then lead into sort of the changes that we're going to be making, which is that as opposed to doing our sessions live every Tuesday, we are going to set aside a weekend or a long weekend, like 3 or maybe 4 times a year, and we're going to record a bunch of episodes in person, and actually like have them edited and whatnot, and then release them on a weekly basis. So that will mean that there's a bit of a shift in terms of like how much interaction we have with you guys during, like in regards to like the story itself. But like I personally plan to hang out and chat and just sort of like shoot the shit with you guys during, which will be kind of nice because when we're streaming, I don't have chat up. I just like I have that closed down and I don't even have the stream up. And so this will actually allow me to like hang out with you guys on Tuesdays, which will be fun. So that'll be super cool. We will continue to do like one shots and stuff live because it allows us to then like still give you guys the opportunity to like fuck with the story and like provide advantage, and Katie can beg for triple advantage on things because she's an advantage slut and has no shame. And also allows to like bring other folks in, kind of like we've been doing with Gup, to help sort of build the world out and tell stories in it, and also kind of like gives people back their Tuesday nights if they have things that they'd like to do or whatnot. So sort of like we'll end up balancing out in terms of hours spent in a way that we hope will be more beneficial, and also ideally it'll provide us a better way to sort of like keep the story coherent and moving in a way that feels like it's paced really well for you all, and that is allows me to not forget, like, potentially crucial moments for characters in the heat of improvising everything, because it's hard to keep track. So it's very exciting in that regard. We're also incredibly fortunate that Omar and A Tale of D20s has a studio, which is the Tale of D20 studio, which is going to be where we film this. So we will have folks, like on set, in his home. Thank you again, Omar.
Oh, of course. No problem.
Which is very exciting stuff. Making me like a very orange lipstick. That might just be the color balance, because I also look kind of blue.
You look normal to me.
Something happened
Your
with
lips
your
are
lighting.
pretty orange. On
They're
stream.
popping. They're popping.
They
my
are.
friend.
These lips are the
Yeah.
most orange lips ever. They're tremendous.
Hate it.
It's giving like ballerina before the show.
There is one particularly large announcement that we do need to make, although I am not the person to make it. So if you'd like to.
Yeah. So because of this change, this is unfortunately where I say farewell for the time being. I've talked a little bit about my work on here and the many trips I've done, and I've taken you on with me to some of the hotel rooms. But my work schedule at this time just does not allow me to be able to do weekends with this crew for filming, even a couple times a year. I just am on the road so much. And so they will get to, at this time, continue the journey without Rev. I have really loved getting to play Rev at this table and in this community, and I'm glad we got to kind of explore a little bit of her story before I had to say goodbye. But I will also be in chat moving forward as much as I can as my travel allows, because I also want to see what happens next in Mitra. This doesn't necessarily mean we're saying goodbye to Rev forever. I have no idea what my future work holds, right? I will always do weekends, but if I can, find some more balance, maybe I can rejoin the team if they can rescue Rev from a mirror dimension. But we're gonna have conversations about what maybe some one shots would look like with her, what she's doing in that dimension, things like that. We'll kind of keep that door open, but for now, while they film live and move forward with this story, I will just get to join you all in chat as a viewer. So Valor, when you mentioned that I'm not getting invited back for Pathfinder, we were all in our private chat being like, LOL. Nailed it.
To be clear, Ryan is invited back whenever Ryan wants to come back.
Yeah.
And we still have plans to do not snakes. God, what is it?
Worms on a airship.
Worms on an airship
Yeah.
at some point in like September-ish
Yeah.
with this crew with Pat Edwards DMing. So you'll definitely this will not be the last that everyone sees of Ryan. I promise you. But
It's so ridiculous.
Just for now with the main
Yeah.
storyline. Yeah.
Oh.
But I also want to say, Ryan, like it's very sad to
Yeah.
not have you part of the core campaign, because it does feel like you have been like a very integral part of this group, and like I want to say thank you, because I really appreciate, especially like the Rev and Azad dynamic that we have been working through has been like really interesting and really fun. I'm like, I hope it's not the end of that, because that would make me very sad.
Agreed. It is rare to find a table where you can literally have a screaming match and everyone has discussed it in advance and is
Yeah.
prepared and not actually angry. It's lovely.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean it. It's hard to find a table where you don't know half the people coming in and it all clicks really well. And you all
Yeah.
are a fantastic group of people. And I will miss you very much.
Miss
No,
you.
I'm gonna miss having you.
Thank you
you.
so much.
I'll be in chat. I can use all my points now.
Oh no! Oh god!
God, we should have ended on a happier note. I feel like now we're just, we're just ending with like sadness.
We've got like 20 minutes. Let's do
Yeah.
a quick everybody's highlight of the campaign. Favorite moment.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's go around the table again. Starting.
Alex.
Wow.
Counterclockwise.
Wow.
We'll go
Right on the
we'll reverse
spot.
it. Rachel.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Going first is this is why I hate rolling high on initiative, because I'm like, oh, I need time to function, let my brain go. I will say the thing that really struck me with how much I wanted to RP the character I have in Patchwork was Patchwork ripping off their twig arm. Like, I did not foresee that for the character, and just like being caught in the moment that you built for us, and like the stakes being so high, and like the sudden realization for Patchwork, it was just like we gotta do it was a really like personally like interesting moment where I learned something about Patchwork that I did not know about Patchwork yet. So I think that was super neat for me. Sorry if I'm gonna be the one that's like, let's talk about me and how great I am. No, it was really born out of the space that we've built here and the characters that are surrounding a little construct that's just like trying to draw things and make sense of the whole fucking universe,
Rian.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick like a highlight. I honestly think one of my favorites, as silly and completely inconsequential as it is, was like, what was it, like day 2 when we were all staying at Giovanni's, and Azad mentioned she'd never like jumped on the bed. And we had other things to do. We had real shit to do. And I was being an asshole and like forcing you to do it. And everybody else was just like, yeah, we're fucking in. Like, let's do it. Superhero poses. Let's go. And it was like, I mean, we had not been playing together long at all. And I was like, all right, we can do this. Like, we can all like completely bullshit this super funny moment. We're going to be fine.
I'd forgotten about that. That was a good time.
It was a good moment.
That was that was really fun.
Solid. For me, I feel like I had 2 like tied favorite moments, because the first one was when we met Neener for the first time, and he had so much sass, and then we released him from the cage. It was great. And then the first time that he spoke, Benjamin,
That voice.
the birth of an integral part of the party. Like,
Yes.
I was so happy. So those were 2 highlights for me.
I think for me, I think that what I don't know if I can call it a highlight or just like the most interesting piece of the whole season was like Rev and I had that fight, and then both Ryan and I had very different perceptions, like as us as humans had very different perceptions of sort of like who was right and who was wrong based on the perspective of our characters. And like it obviously didn't cause actual tension between Ryan and I, but like the fact that we both like outside of character saw the situation differently, I thought was really interesting. Like having conversations with you, the 2 of us, was like, and I was like, no, but you like Azad, like I understand she came off a little strong, but like here's all the reasons why she's coming from like the right place. And you were like, well, here's all the reasons why Rev is coming from the right place. And I was like, oh, we're not seeing eye to eye like Katie and Ryan about this, because we are so deep into our characters. So I thought that was like a really fun, not fun's not the right word, but like just like a really like, oh, we're starting to meld with these characters in a way where it is bleeding into the way that like we as players think. And I would say that that's like a highlight from a role playing standpoint. And then just in terms of like moments that I think were fun and silly, I fucking loved Ryan's date with the carny.
That's true. That was pretty good. I enjoyed playing that.
Oh,
To be clear,
yeah.
Ted, I am terrible at flirting in real life, so y'all got to see it basically real.
Oh, so
Yeah,
funny.
that moment whipped. That was great.
That was a good one. Yeah.
And drinking the rainbow. Drinking the rainbow was a secondary highlight.
Yeah. Y'all are gonna get so many plot-related things done with me gone.
You say
Bold of
that.
you to assume, and the rest of us can keep anything on track.
Yeah, that feels generous.
Gosh. Yeah, Omar.
I had two very standout parts that I really enjoyed. The first one that really tickled me was the entire coffee on caffeine scene when everybody was on caffeine.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I didn't know where that would have gone, and everyone just took it there, and we just kind of went super hyperactive, which was super fun. I like how juvenile we all were, or to say naive our characters are. It just made it so hilarious. And the second that I really enjoyed were the scenes, particularly with Korna, because like Korna's character, like Zeki started with the voice and it grew until like it like became Korna, and it was just so exciting because Korna's character is hilarious, and then the Azad not accepting Korna for being an adult was the high. It's oh my goodness, yeah, that was everything to me.
I love that gag. I love it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
gag, yes.
I'm
Ugh.
10 now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, those are standouts for me.
And then, man,
Sweet little 10-year-old baby boy.
I'm a man. Well, I'm a kobold. And
Jesus Christ.
I think like that like encapsulates like the highlight for me. Just like there's 6 players, right? And this is one of the first games that I've really been a part of. I think where there was this is the second game that I've been a part of where there's 6 players. And there's just a lot of people talking all the time. So I think for me it's been like a really fun experience, and like the highlight of it was just like finding those little moments where I could just like throw in a goof as like this naive and innocent sounding kobold, you know, and it just like catches everybody. And I feel like, you know, there's been times where like Ryan's just like completely breaking character, like just can't. And I think like
Yes.
that's been like a fun goal of mine. Just like, how many people can I get to like break character this episode? Because I'm just being such a goof. And I think that's been like the highlight for me, because I feel like, you know, I haven't played as a player with like a lot of these people, like at least the top row, you know? So being able to then like get that relationship going and nurtured as a player with them was like the other half of that highlight, because, you know, I try to, you know, add the little funny flares here and there, but I feel like that really like helped like get us to be a little bit more cohesive, like break the ice a little bit, like get us to take a second and remember we're just playing a fantasy game and stuff like that. And I think like, you know, where we have these big shouting matches between Ryan and Katie, and I'm just like, is she always like that? And like, you know, like just like trying to like cut a little bit of that tension, because I know, and like it's kind of a thing where like we built up the fact that like I can trust that they're going to be able to pick it right back up to 11 and continue on. And I feel like it, you know, is great for everybody watching us right now because of those same reasons. And that's really been the highlight for me, is just like working on all like the relationships with all the other players and everything else.
Now imagine what we can do when we make consistent eye contact with each other.
What?
I know.
Oh my
Wild.
goodness.
I have to say that the continuity is going to be really nice of just filming a season over a couple days, because I feel like when a week goes by and my brain gets out of TTRPG gear and then has to like go back into it, I struggle with that. I don't know if other people do as well, but I'm really looking forward to being able to tell a consecutive story like over the course of a couple days. Personally,
I forget everything in between sessions, straight up. Object permanence is not something that my brain does well with. It's gone.
To be like,
Ben, you need to do a highlight.
Yeah.
Oh.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a specific highlight necessarily, but because it's not like there's not like a specific moment that really encapsulates it, but there was the like initial couple of sessions where we were like trying to figure out the group dynamic, how you guys were going to interact with one another, and how your characters were going to interact with one another. There's like, it was a little bit of a struggle, and we like had a conversation as a group, and then like immediately afterwards there was just there was a difference in how you guys all approached the like inter-party conversations and interactions, and I thought that was really, really cool to see, of like this very clear difference in the way that you guys were approaching it, and thinking about it. And I think from the perspective of a DM, that makes a huge difference, right? When you guys are driving the story within the party and without me having to be standing there like cracking a whip at you, and instead like having you guys have those conversations, which are sometimes hard and sometimes lead to you guys yelling at one another. But I thought that was really, really cool, and I love DMing for you guys. I'm excited as hell to do it in person. And Ryan, we're gonna get you back one day, so it's gonna happen.
all right.
Is there anything in the arc that we just closed that you really wish we had discovered? Is there a piece of loot we left on the table that you like wish we had pulled out of somewhere? Like,
Ryan, it is so kind of you to think that I pre-generate loot or anything like that.
I'm giving you the option to brag about some secret you stuck somewhere.
I'm trying to think if there are any secrets that you guys have uncovered yet, that are like I'm particularly proud. I don't think so. I think the things that are sort of like in the mix are still in the mix. So there's like 3 or 4 things that I've tucked away that I haven't talked to anyone else about yet, but I don't think you guys have come across them yet. Yeah.
awesome sauce.
I feel like there's probably potential that we could have found out more that would help us later, but we didn't do that.
Yeah, why would we? We're a tabletop role-playing game.
Always.
Oh God. Okay, so we're about 8 minutes.
Okay. I have one last question for you before we leave.
Yeah.
No. One of the last things that Rev did was send a "we need to talk" text to Giovanni.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Is there a message like waiting on her phone somewhere, or is that just it for their communication for now?
So you sent that like right before you guys went into the manor, right?
I sent it like before. I think I sent it before we got in the airship. And you had said I got like the 3 bubbles and then they went away, and then the 3 bubbles and then they went away. Yeah.
So there is a message waiting for Rev. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if we're gonna like have time for there to be any kind of communication, but there is. I should probably write it down at some point before I forget, because absolutely there. If you guys had taken any kind of time between fights and you had checked, there
To
is
do anything.
Yep.
Does Rev have her stone with
That'll
her?
be fun. Yeah, it's in her
yeah.
pocket.
Probably.
Yeah.
So technically, if she received it prior
Yeah.
to going into the
It's-
mirror, it should be there.
It's still there. Yep.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
data that's been put onto the the quartz drive of the rock is.
I assume it doesn't have service wherever she is.
Please
I-
Probably not.
talk
Do you have
geology to me,
roaming?
Ben.
Do you have roaming on your sending
Inter-
stone?
Interdimensional roaming.
Yeah. Is that a thing that you paid for?
I believe a sending
Sending
stone's
shell.
called rolling.
Rolling.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's funny.
That is,
Imagine
That'll be
whole
so
time-
much fun.
Wait,
Yeah.
how fucked up would it be if this whole time we could text with Rev, but like couldn't get to Rev?
Oh.
Don't do that. That's too fucked up.
Or
Ben's
is
like,
it?
but I want to.
Or is
Ryan,
it?
Ryan, you and I have to have a conversation about this.
Yes!
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
All right, we are now 6 minutes from the top of the hour. I know that we have GUP's finale starting at 8 o'clock. So I do want to give us a couple minutes in between, just to, like change around some Twitch info and things like that. But is there anything that anyone wants to say? Final thoughts, last words? God, that's bleak.
I mean, until next time, everybody.
Yeah.
We're really excited to be like taking this direction with the show, and I think that it's going to be better for us as players, and also great for y'all as viewers. And we'll still be in chat, so don't worry about that.
The one thing that none of us mentioned is that we're filming the first or second weekend in September. Our editor Chesh said that it will take her about 2 weeks to turn it around. So I would expect to start seeing season 2 airing late September, maybe early October, depending on how all of that goes. But in the meantime, every Tuesday between now and then, we're gonna have Mitra World either one shots or multi shots, like we did in June with GUP. July, we've got brunch running something. August, we've got a couple of different people doing one shots. And September, we're gonna have worms on a plane and things like that. So there will be Mitra content between now and when season 2 airs, but expect season 2 late September, early October.
And that'll sort of be the cycle going forward, is we'll
Yes.
have sort of the regularly scheduled campaign seasons, and then we'll have like one shot world building goofy stuff in between while we do other stuff and write things and record other things and edit them.
Yeah.
We're gonna
So-
keep making the things while we make the other things.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
So you can have things while you wait for things.
Okay, on that note, why
Bam.
don't we go offline?
All right, everybody. Have a
y'all.
good night.
Yeah.
Bye,
Thanks
Night,
for joining
everybody.
us.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks for hanging out.
And stay
Ciao.
tuned.
Yeah, don't go
away.
anywhere.
Yeah, don't leave.
Nope.
I'll come back.
Or like get water and come back.
Yeah, or get food. Yeah. Take care of
Yeah.
yourselves. Go
But-
pee.
but
I'll be in
Come back
chat,
for sure.
so I'm
All
taking
right,
names down.
Everybody do some like chair yoga.
I'm sure that Gup will be doing a recap beforehand, right, Gup? If people are coming in for the first time, that's what you're gonna do. That's how you're gonna start this out. Cool.
Yup, you don't have to. Just let that.
We're gonna
roll off your
like
back
talk our
like
way
a-
right up to 8:50.
And we're
All right,
gonna be
goodbye.
signing.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.